Welcome to another episode of The Broker's Blueprint. I'm Martino Picariello, your host, with my co-host Nick Giganti, and today we have Phil Maisano on. Phil is a Hunter's commercial real estate agent here in the office with us. He's probably one of the most disciplined agents I've ever met in my career. Disciplined from the acquisition all the way into the close, and it's fun working across from you, seeing you almost every day, and brokering one of those deals together this past year. So really happy to have you on.
Yeah, appreciate it, dude. Thanks for having me on. It's
Absolutely.
pretty cool.
Yeah, what do you think of the setup? This is new.
It's pretty sick setup, not gonna lie. Not gonna lie. I was a little nervous coming in here, but
That's
you know,
nice, right?
yes, I like the shag rug. The shag.
Yeah, it's good stuff. How's the day been so far?
It's good, not bad, dude. Made a bunch of calls this morning. Got to pop on here with you guys and talk some shop. Yeah. Hopefully we get a deal out of this. You know,
hey,
something you guys have.
Call us.
You know?
No. Yeah. No, we're really happy to have you on for a few reasons, but finding deals is something I feel like Nick, right? He's just been a killer at.
Yep. I mean, we've always been like grinders. I mean, that's what I think always like puts us a step above everybody else. We're good relationship makers. Phil definitely is one of them. But ultimately, it's like a lot of agents. I mean, I always say it. You throw 100 agents into the room, it's like 90% of them don't do shit. Mm-hmm. Then, the other 5%, they do a good amount of work, but they're not really that effective. And then there's really only like 5% that are real, like go-getters, that are really like hitting the phones, that really take it like a job. You know what I mean? And I think, Phil, like, you're a guy that just gets up every day and it's like, I'm going to call until my ears bleed. You know what I mean? But that's that's how like getting deals done. You know what I mean? Like,
what's that one stat? It's like not 85% of people fail in the first. I forget that one.
Yeah, in the first year. And I think a big part of it is exactly what you said. You don't take it seriously like it's a real job. And I'll take it a step further. It's your business. It's your baby. You know, I was fortunate to have my dad. He owned a business. It was a pizza shop, but I knew that he loved that thing more than me. It was a hard realization, but it was an important one because you got to love what you do. And that role, no matter how, like you said, your ears are bleeding some days, right? No matter how tough it is. Being in a pizza shop's no easier, I don't think. So, I mean, talk a little bit about how you got so disciplined and why, what sets you apart from most people.
Yeah, I was say definitely the experience. I think that's just who I am, though. I'm not sure what kind of personality type I am, but there's nothing gets me going like the adrenaline rush of a deal. You know what I mean? Like when you pick up the phone and someone's like, actually, yeah, I have been thinking about it. And dude, something just happened, something magical in the air. Yeah, it's not even like the process, and I don't get excited about closings anymore.
Yo, it's something crazy. I don't get. I remember when I was like early in my career, I used to get pumped. You know,
I'll close it. Yeah,
now it's more,
wear my nice suit. You get a bottle of champagne.
I think it's more about like the initial part. Like, I want to sell. And you're like, all right, let's go. Let me
figure out the comps. You're like, oh my gosh, like this is the perfect guy for it. If he agrees to something like this, which is like, I don't know, just the overall.
Yeah, the wheels are turning immediately. I guess like, so someone says that, what's your first thought? Like, what are you immediately getting into?
Well, I mean, everybody knows this, and Nick's really good at this too, but, the pain point or the motivation behind it. It's like, yeah, I'm willing to sell, but like everybody can tell me that. Like, yeah, I'll sell my condo if you give me $1 million for it. Doesn't mean I'll actually sell it. You know what I mean? But no, find the pain point and find the true reason of why they want to sell it is the overall, the most important aspect of it.
I'm taking notes. I mean, this is gold. Honestly, like I think that's like something people all miss.
Yeah. I think it's for like all the people that are out there doing deals on their own, too, that are going. That is number one with sales.
100%.
It's
in any sale, right?
In any sale. I mean, you go back to the Way of the Wolf or the Wolf of Wall Street, Jordan Belfort, sell me this pen. Everybody's like, this pen's great. This pen's, it's like, what type of pen are you looking for? What is it that, are you looking for something with grip, blah, blah, blah? Well, this is why this pen is the best for you.
Yep.
So it's like, what the pain points, that's what's making that person want to sell. Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's like I always say it's like we're people trying to find solutions. So if selling isn't what you need, then what is it? Tell us. Exactly. Do you need an attorney for something? Like we have a ton of resources. So it's, do you need to get your building leased? Yep. We'll help with the leasing. We'll tell you if your building's under leased or whatever. Yeah, like if it's under lease, you can get this much more. If you don't want to sell it, then why don't you talk to this lender of mine, and then you could pull out money, and then maybe we want to buy another property.
That's what I love about this business is like the solutions are so infinite. Really, they are. Maybe sometimes you're kind of handcuffed if you put yourself in a rough spot. But if you're someone who's got good equity, you have this property, you're just looking for options. There's always something, and you can always look for something else and something else. And it's something that I'm hearing both of you guys say is like, it's never, here's the solution, here's my solution. It's what's your problem first, and then let's tailor that solution around what you need. What's your vision, and let's make it come true. Fair to say?
No, I agree with that.
Yeah. So next step, you find out that pain truth, that, whatever that, real motivation is. Where are you going from there?
After you get the main motivation, you kind of work around that. You build rapport. Once you get the pain point, someone's going to judge you within the first 30 to 45 seconds. So I'm not worried about the property just yet. It's like, hey, do you want to sell it? Yeah. Oh, got it. Like, what's the reason for selling? You get the motivation. Yeah. It's like, God, listen, I completely understand. Maybe you need this money for the next project. Actually, like, I'm doing something down the shore. I'm trying to find this duplex. But, you build rapport. You get the building characteristics. You get that on public records. You don't want to sound salesy on a call. It's you really are helping this person make a big life decision on it, whether you're on the buying side or the selling side. Commercial is a lot more analytics and numbers, but I want those repeat guys. I want that tight relationship with people. So I'm getting the motivation. I'm building that rapport. That's probably step 2 that a lot of people miss out on. And then I get the building characteristics. I can always get that later.
It's so funny in that emotional rapport, you could find other things that they don't even see for themselves. Like you just said, oh, I got this duplex and that, even though I called about this warehouse, he's got 14 other things he's worried about or just thinking about, and they're not even worried.
Yeah. It's definitely genuine too. I'm not asking a question, going on to the next thing. I don't have a bullet point of questions. Like I'm actually listening to what they're saying. I'm relating to them. I'm putting myself in their shoes. And you'll be surprised how quickly you learn reality is.
Yeah, I agree. And you are good at that. I feel like I'm good at that. We're all good at that. Where it's like, you talk to some douchey salespeople, they're just like, I just want the sale. But I think we all genuinely...
You can sniff it. And when you go to a car dealership, it's like, yeah, I get it. It's like, oh, like, what do you do? Like, dude, I know you're qualifying me. Like, I'm not wasting your time.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. It's, for me, something I took a huge step in is just like, listen, acknowledge, validate, and then ask questions around that. LAVA, we call it. So any salesperson out there, this is a really easy play-by-play you can use. Listen. Actually listen. There's 5-level listening, right? You have like, your reply level 1 is like, oh, cool. And then you go on, right? Then you have level 2, which is like, oh, cool. I can relate because of this. You have level 3, where it just kind of goes up. But level 5 is truly when you go, Phil, I hear what you're saying. You want to sell this warehouse. Man, but really, what's going on with that? And that must be a hard move for you, right? Just kind of putting yourself in those shoes fully before, almost like you got to meet them where they're at. And then you can lead them to where they need to go. Yeah. But it all starts with listening. And so many people skip that because they're worried about the next line on the script. Right. And you don't have a list of questions anymore. But maybe at first, I think I remember we had a couple questions that just were like key points. But yeah, you really don't have a list of questions. You're genuinely concerned or just curious about the clients you meet.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
So, how are you getting your day started? Like, where are you looking for? What's your process for, getting these deals? And we could talk about the Laurel deal, which I definitely think we should.
Yeah, great story.
It was a great story.
Stay tuned for that.
And that was a deal that 3 other brokers couldn't sell.
Yeah, 3 previous ones.
Previous, and we got it done. Well, we got it, but you and
the team got it done.
Yeah, we got it done.
Like what's the overall process of? You're saying like when I start in the morning, or
start the morning. Let's run through. Phil Maisano's day.
I'd tell you what, I'm definitely unorthodox the most.
Do the montage.
I think a lot of people find it interesting. I'm sure maybe you guys can relate too, but it's a little different for me. It's because I have my own condo. I have no kids. Yeah. I'm getting married, which is great. I do, but
congrats. Congrats. Do you have a date yet?
Yeah, November 15th. You guys will be getting the invites.
Little side though, that was a great way to propose too. We were down in the Jersey Shore.
Yeah,
you had the whole team down there. We didn't at the bar.
Really good. Yeah, it was perfect.
Killed it. Congrats.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. I'm always up between 7:15. I take my time, and I'll be honest. If I'm tired, I'm sleeping in a little bit. That's a great thing about a business owner. It's if If I don't work, I'm not making money. If I do work, you get the gist. But
Totally.
we're usually up 7:15. I do my power hour. Very, very religious with it. I always take a shower. I'm literally that twice a day guy. Once in the morning, once at night.
Wow. Psycho.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm a psycho like that. If I can squeeze in 3, I'll squeeze in 3. But no, I'm always up at that.
Just going taking a shower during his lunch
No
break.
problem. If I
Funnel
don't feel
bounce,
right
maybe if it's a
midday.
long day, Yeah.
If I don't feel right midday, I'll take one. I do my power hour. I always read. I'm Catholic, so I try to read the Bible as much as I can.
Yeah, cool.
Take the dog out, my usual stuff. I'll just take my time in the morning. I don't eat breakfast at all. I'm usually in the office between 9 and 9:30. If I am working from home, I'm just going right into the office. But overall, start my day after that. I don't wear a suit. I think it's my different approach to things. Everybody wears a suit in like the CBRE office, big firms, which is fine. But most of the time, I never have seen the properties. I probably have never met the seller or the buyer. Actually, most of my cases, I haven't met anybody in the transaction.
See, that's one thing that is mind blowing to me, because a lot of the emotional rapport that I build is always client facing.
Yeah,
but that just shows how good you are on the phone.
Yeah, it's different.
I'm like 50-50. Sometimes I won't ever even see the property, and sometimes
yeah. But I typically won't see anything. But if I'm making calls, I'm making sure I'm having fun. Like my music's on at home. I have 3 crazy monitors. That's nuts in there. The dogs, bite on my leg, doing whatever. But I'm having fun with it. I'm not taking it too serious.
You have a cute little dog too.
Luna, Frenchie.
A little Frenchie.
Yeah. I would have 18 of them if I had a house. But
I can't wait to see that.
But no, I'll do my dials from 9:30 to 11:30 or like 12-ish, give or take.
Perfect time.
Yeah, I'll pound through as many as I can. I'll veer off the beaten path to find off like one-offs that I really, really like. And that's it. There's really no secret sauce to everything. I think a lot of people tend to get wrapped up in like these crazy systems and whatnot of skip trace and trying to pull a certain list, which is great. But at the end of the day, just got to pick up the phone. Even if you accidentally call the wrong person, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Complexity kills consistency. Everybody gets so complex. Just you got 20 numbers, dial them. That's it.
Yeah.
I love that. It's simple. Like sales is simple. We overcomplicate it, and like you just said, that kills all your momentum. It kills all of your focus. It kills your zone action, right?
Yeah.
When you're in that state, which, for you is like you said, you have your power hour, you get to that place of like, all right, my day's over, right? Now it's time to give to other people. Because I think you can't have that amazing 5-level listening. You can't have that ability to pick up the phone and dial unless you've taken care of yourself first.
Right.
Is that fair to
put
say?
it this way, I guess, for both you guys, do you make better decisions and do you speak better and do you portray yourself as the expert when you're pissed off and upset and grumpy or when you're happy?
Oh, yeah.
I'll let the fans at home answer that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amen.
It's the same thing. Like especially when you guys nervous, our best days, dude, is like got the good nice rest. You got something to eat. A deal's coming your way. Like you're just, it's like you're on.
It's usually when you close a deal and you have something else like to give you like positive, like
a reinforcement.
And then you're like, yeah, I'm good. And then you're like closing, and then you're having great conversations. You're like,
it's like confidence.
It's the confidence. Yeah. It's just like when you get a girl and then all of a sudden more girls come. You're like, it's just confidence.
Yeah. It's so funny. We talked about this this morning, my coach and I. It was like, you obviously want reassurance, but you don't want to rely on reassurance, right? If results don't come, you still need to stick in your process. And that's the fine line, I think, in any business, but especially the sales business and real estate, connecting dots, connecting people. When things aren't clicking, who are you in those moments? And it seems like you're always going to be at the same level, Phil, no matter what.
Yep. Try to, at least. I mean, I think a lot of people tend to drive themselves into the ground. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe Nick and Martino and Phil closing all these deals and I'm not. It's like in the reality, I mean, it's a grind, dude. Yeah. I'm not like that 100% of the time.
No.
I'll be honest. You know how many times a week I want to go to the gym? Probably 0. You have to go anyway.
Yeah.
Same thing with calling. You just don't feel like
and you feel better once you're done too.
Yeah. Always. Yeah. It's really, I think at this age for us, like we're younger gentlemen. I know, Nick, you have some years, but you're still also growing so much, but it's about habits, like just building these habits of like getting yourself to be doing things that you don't want to do. But if you can control, if you can still do things that you don't want to do, you can do anything, I feel. And you can get yourself to do anything. And if someone else can do it, you can do it. So if someone looks at us and says, oh, I can't believe they're closing all these deals, why can't you? Yeah. It should almost be like a story to fuel your fire versus dim it or extinguish it and make yourself feel worse, right?
Right.
So I want to jump back to the deal. So you're building, you built that rapport now. You found their truth, pain, and yes. You built emotional rapport, and you're, like you said, you're over the phone. So for me, I'm booking an appointment at that point. What are you doing next?
Well, yeah, going back to that, I'm getting all the statistics about the building, and I'm immediately following up with them. It's like I'm always giving somebody a next step, especially as a broker. You have to walk a fine line between annoying somebody and actually helping somebody. It's following up with a purpose. So, yeah, if I have all the information, it's like, yeah, I'll let you know. Like, okay, yes,
Yeah.
We've all had those. Yeah, we've all had that. Someone say that to us, and we don't know how to handle it. How do you typically handle it?
Yeah, so now I learned from Jim Blanda. It's I always follow up 2 days later. Hey, listen, I got everything I need. I'm sending you everything about me. This way, I'm not some crazy person on the other side of the phone. In about 2 business days, I'll have your evaluation. That's your next step. In about 2 days, when you get a call from me, you'll know it's done, and we'll review everything.
Yeah.
So they're expecting for me to reach it back out again. It's not some cold call or prospect, and it's like, oh, why are you calling me again?
They're waiting for you.
Exactly.
Not only are they expecting it, but they're like, it's been 48 hours and I still haven't gotten my call yet.
Right.
And then you call in the 49th hour, like the hero.
And that proves your punctuality too. It's
Yep.
professionalism. It's like, yeah, I'm doing my evaluation 2 days. You're going to hear from me.
And I think one of the most important things is to give yourself an extra 24 hours, because everybody's like, yeah, I'll get back to you tomorrow. It's like, you actually rather just say, 2 to 3 days, and then if you get back to them in a day, whatever, you beat the 2 to 3 days. But there's so many times where people are like, yeah, I'll get back to you tomorrow, and then they don't. And it's like, I think that's another big thing that a lot of brokers don't do, agents don't do, is like, they just don't do what they say. It's like, if you just do what you freaking say, that's it. If you just do that, you're like a step above 80%
Totally
of people out there,
Yeah.
So it's just,
that's
crazy.
It's
You would think that's like a simple concept.
Yeah. Something I've been doing recently is like permission, asking permission, not asking permission necessarily in that scenario, but like, is this urgent? Right. Kind of like talking around it. Like, can I get this to you in 48 hours? But I actually like that approach better, of almost like, this is what's going to happen. Because if you start to ask, it makes it seem like maybe you do have time if you can make it. And you know what I mean? I like that a lot. So that's something I'm going to take away big time, is not always maybe asking, is 48 hours okay? But being like, it's going to be 48 hours. Is that okay? You know what I mean? There's just a little difference. And I think that's what playing in the sales, the sport of sales really is. It's those micro distinctions that set people apart. Yeah, you don't want to complicate it, but yeah, you also don't want to just be so general that there's no intention behind what you're doing.
Yeah.
And like, that's what we're trying to do. It's not run 5 steps, make a left, and you're going to catch it. It's run 5, fake right, then go left. You're going to be a little bit more open for that catch. And, I'm not trying to get, but that's how I look at this game now.
The Eagles.
Yeah, let's go Birds. But like, that's the game, and you're missing out if you're not focused on the details. So Phil, back to you. What do you got on the next step after you send that evaluation?
Yeah, after I send that evaluation, I basically give them the pitch of, hey, this is what I actually think it's worth on a price per square foot with the sale. I'm going to give you the lease. What are your thoughts? At that point, again, I want to relate back to your motivation. Do you need this? Maybe it is worth $5 million, but you may want to sell it right now. Yeah. That's okay. Yep. My goal is just to give solutions and provide value. So I'll give them my honest opinion, and some broker may be $2 million more. And guess what? That's cool. But at the end of the day, I'm actually here to move the property. I'm not here to just tell you a fake number.
Yeah.
So I'll give my evaluation. I'll review the, I ask them, is this something you definitely are interested in? Like, if somebody gave you that $5 million offer, are you willing to sign it? Yes. Awesome. Well, if you don't want to move it, there's a couple of different avenues. We can do the off-market approach. I can end up trying to find you a buyer and share it amongst my colleagues. Yeah. If you really want to push numbers, you're going to have to put this on market, get more eyes in front of it. And you just lay out all the options and you let them pick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a broker, I'm never forcing somebody to do what I want them to do. No. Yeah, at the end of the day, if you get a sale, that's great. I'm here to help you, and that's my professionalism. But I'm going to give you all the facts, and whatever you decide to do, I'm here to move.
Let them control their destiny.
Exactly. Yeah. The only thing I can do is provide them the expertise and everything that I know. Yeah. So going back to it, I'll give the evaluation. I'll ask if that's something they want to sell. Yep. You give me a thumbs up. I'm going to lay out all the options, and which one you want to do is cool with me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine being on the other end of that as a client. I've never owned a warehouse or a piece of land that you've sold, but just being treated that way, so professional, so mature, right? Just it's refreshing in the industry. We talked about this on a podcast we were hosted on, actually, Tim Garrity and Sean Tony, Bricks and Risk.
Yeah.
We said the whole NAR lawsuit, it doesn't really affect commercial, to be honest. And everyone knows that, but it's getting all of these agents who are just yes men and women out of the industry and getting professionals like yourself to rise to the top.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, because there's never been, like, I can't tell you how many, you being one.
I was one.
Mentoring, like, about asking for commission. I mentored Jim Roach about that when he first got into it. It's like, you got to, if the guy's not paying commission, go back to your client and be like, I need to get
You just told me that yesterday.
Yeah, I told you that. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, it's like, we're professionals. We have to get paid. And people, most of the time, if they are intelligent and they're smart business people, they understand that. It's like, yeah, I gotta hit these people off with a I have children. I have to pay. You know what I mean?
There's a different...
And guess what? We do this transaction. There's more to come, you know, based on the work ethic that we have, what we're doing to uncover
that
deals.
2%, 3% fee is going to bring you 5 other ones.
Exactly. And they'll be happy to pay. They want more deal flow.
Something that I've even had to look at recently is not what's the cost, but what's the value. And I think that's where people, if I'm hearing what you're saying, you know, correctly, it's not what does it cost? Yeah, it might be a $20,000 fee, but what's the value? It could be another $1 million value to that, like another great deal that you can get. And obviously, access to who we know is a huge piece of our value.
So, and that's one thing that me and Phil are doing, you know, that we're focusing on is creating a proprietary database right now. And
many people do not have that. They're actually shocked.
There's so much. You always talk about database. So this is perfect.
It really is. Yeah. It's the backbone of. It's always been the backbone of my business. A lot of my deals have come from my database, and we're bringing it a step further to basically every person. That's why I used to get jazzed up, even if I just called somebody and they're like, "Nah, I don't want to sell," but I know that I just called Joe Blow and he owns 123 Main Street. So I have his number, I have his name, and hopefully I got his email address. I'm databasing him, and the system that we're using, we have a geographical map where we could see if someone hits us up. I'm looking for industrial, and now Phil is expanded into Florida. He got his Florida license. I got my Jersey license. Yep. So we're just expanding into these other markets where we are databasing every person that we speak with. How big is their land? What is the zoning? What is the description of the property? So that the more we do that, this is just like, it's going to be a cumulative thing. Give us a couple of years. We're already adding roughly like 40 people per month, 50 people per month. We probably up that too.
Probably more.
Yeah, probably more actually, truthfully. So it's like, we just keep that up, and that will become the proprietary database of like, what are you looking for? All right. We got all these people that we could put you in touch with, and it helps us dictate our day too, because we know who to follow up with. We're putting follow-up tasks for each one. If they're not trying to sell now, we're hitting them up. Shit, there's people that I had in my CRM. I sold a property last year in Graduate Hospital. I hit that guy up every 6 months for 10 years. For 10 years. And he still has properties. Yeah. And I asked him about his other properties. He's like, I'm holding off. I was like, well, at least the 10 years of follow-up I did get like compensated, you know what I mean? Yeah. A little bit. And he laughed and he was like, I appreciate your vigor or something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's like, it's crazy. I've talked to like some of these guys that work in pretty established companies. They don't use the database. I'm like, do you know you're kind of like foregoing a lot of money? How do you rude? It's like, how do you dictate your day? I don't know. But yeah, what are you seeing right now? Like the with like your Florida stuff now that you're kind of pivoting right now. Yeah. You're adding to like what you're doing, because you've always done a lot of Philly multifamily development. But you are like kind of focusing now a little bit more on storage, industrial, industrial outdoor storage, industrial. What are your thoughts on that market?
I'm basically following the money. I mean, there's a ton of people. It's not even really like a real asset class yet. It's really weird space. I mean, there's industrial, there's warehouses, but when you get into the IOS, which is industrial outdoor storage, you'd be surprised how on fire that asset class is. And I was talking to a few buddies of mine who move it down there, and they're like, yeah, like I put this much under this month. I was like, dude,
Could you give us some numbers?
I mean,
No names, just numbers.
I won't give you a name, but my one friend put one under for, 76 million. It's a portfolio, and he's just ripping, dude. It's just a phone call. You'd be surprised when you pass by that Amazon warehouse. Who owns that?
Yeah.
Did they develop that? Is there a good spread on, their in-place cap rate and what they can sell it for? There's money out there to be made. And I feel like, and I've been telling everybody this, especially my brother, if you can call in Philly or New York, you can call anywhere. Mm-hmm. And I'll be honest, I've been picking up the phone down in the Southeast, and everyone's been so nice. So nice.
Hey, Phil.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, you want to sell?
I don't want to sell, but why don't you come down here and we'll have some breakfast and let's just talk about it.
Just made some sweet tea.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got a front porch.
They're awesome down there. Listen, the asset class is awesome. I get to travel to Florida, and there's big numbers down there. Yeah. Big numbers.
It's a lot more fun.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun. I don't have sling a first-time home buyer. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. That's just not what I'm good at.
For me personally, I thought there was a lot of learning to be had in that space, and you learn a lot about even the other realms, industrial, warehouse, just through single-family purchases. So it's helpful, but at a certain point, you take the training wheels off, and you push the limits. And right now, you're pushing them. Yeah, it's really impressive to see.
And I will say that one thing: there's a lot of people down there who don't realize what they're sitting on. They might have opened up a company 10, 20, 30. Actually, I talked to somebody who started something. I can't really disclose what the company is, but 60 years ago, he started a company, bought this warehouse, had no idea what this guy's sitting on. I gave him a valuation. He was like, whoa, I would take that in a heartbeat. I'm like, dude, no problem. That's why I'm here to help.
What option do you want to go with?
Companies that are looking to buy these, what are they doing? What are they using them for?
They're small, like mom and pop RV and boat storage. Warehouse, like everything's outdoor industrial storage, like crates and stuff like that.
But I'm saying the end users, what are they? Who are the buyers? Who are the
bigger institutional guys? Yeah, they're basically coming in, vacating it, rehabbing it, and racing out to these big companies. Yeah. I don't really know these.
And Phil, do you have connections directly with those institutional buyers?
Oh yeah,
right now.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's huge value to obviously any seller that you talk to.
I'd say
willing to pay top dollar.
Yeah, top 50 in the U.S. I probably know them. Yeah. For any size, anywhere, there's a buyer for it.
It's a massive value.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and once again, it's our access to connections that's our true value. If you're like in that top 5% that you described earlier, you have the 90% who are just kind of twiddling their thumbs, the other 10%, and then out of those 10%, you have half of them who are actually building a book of real institutional buyers, real landowners who own massive parcels. Not really just the quantity, but the quality of the parcels too. So that's really the intangible value that I think every one of our clients sees, and we always portray it to deliver on your promises.
I mean, not anybody can do it, but like what we do is we got deals, bro. Deals.
Yeah, I'll say it last.
You want to control the market, dude? You're calling the owners. Yeah. I mean, anybody can call the buyer, which is great. Sure. Right. But you control the deal, and you find something that's truly valuable to somebody who's going to make that company a lot of money.
And there's value to that.
That's it.
Yeah. There's always going to be value to that.
Always. It's just about value to it. Yeah, it's just about how efficient can you be in creating those relationships and still keeping it genuine, right? Yeah. Because you could have maybe a VA calling in the Philippines to get right, but no, I you know what I mean. I like calling on those initial calls, like
you're sniping.
Absolutely,
yeah, you're sniping,
and that's something I definitely learned from you is quality over quantity. Get that list tight before you hit skip trace, right? Don't just pull a random list. And dude, it's made a huge impact in these last 2 years of my business, and we were fortunate to broker something real simple, just out here in the suburbs where, hey, Phil, I came across a nice parcel. Nick was in the meeting with us, and I go, hey, Phil, I got this parcel. Let's evaluate it. We ran that 48-hour evaluation, got the numbers back, thought of who to call, pulled a list of everyone, not just anyone, everyone who was in a mile or two radius of that developing.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good chance. You're kind of calling. You're fishing with dynamite, basically, right? You're calling with such intention. You feel like that next call really could be the buyer. And once again, it's fun. You're making it so much more fun when you can be strategic and efficient with your time.
Yep. Want to find the best buyers? Go on the roof.
Go on the roof.
Yeah. And look around.
This is a lesson right here.
Which is funny because we'll go back to the Laurel deal. We're not going to say names, but this property, 35,000 square foot warehouse on.
Yeah. So it's like 25, 30. Yeah, right around there.
No, I'm sorry. The lot was 35,000 square feet.
Yes.
The 12,000 square foot warehouse. 3 other brokers tried selling it. We got the listing. Phil called one of the neighbors and basically got the deal done, which you could get into it because it's a crazy deal how it went through the whole thing.
And even knowing,
but it's just crazy that like, is it that hard? Like,
it's not.
Did those guys just not do anything?
What did you say earlier about complexity?
I mean, I don't want to say anything bad. I don't even know who the other brokers were.
I wasn't even the listing side.
You weren't even the listing side. Yeah, because Colin got the listing.
Colin's in the listing, but
that was the thing. You went out and you're like, yo, I'm going to find the buyer for this. Called around it, got the dude, and then what happened though? Then there was the competing offer.
Yeah, we basically had an LOI out there for like 2 months.
2 months.
It was going back and forth. We're pretty much in agreement at this point. You know, it's when you have a lot of
another broker came in.
Yeah, when you have a lot of people, I guess, trying to make a decision on one deal, you deal with buyer, seller, broker, attorneys. Everyone's trying to make a decision, which is fine. And right at the very last moment, right before it gets signed, another one comes in, and
it always happens.
It's bigger. It's better.
Where were you when you found out?
Well, we were going back and forth, I think like about a week.
Mm-hmm.
And, the other one was, the other side wanted to send their last offer. And when they sent it, it expired in a few minutes. And seller's ready to take it.
That's crazy. Yeah. An LOI that it expires in minutes.
Usually it's a day.
And I'll be honest, the other side broker, smart, man. I learned so much on that transaction. And, when it expired, it was bigger. It was a lot bigger, and it was better than mine in terms. And, as I'm driving on my way to work, it's around 8:45 going to the office, and I was told that you're going to lose it, and I'm going to accept it in the next 15 minutes. And I said, no, you're not. I pulled over right on I-76 on the side of the road, called Colin, was like, hey, do you mind explaining everything to my buyer? I'm in the middle of the road. I'm not going to remember what you're telling me. I called the buyer on a 3-way, explained everything to them. And, he told me what his best was. And honestly, I don't think there was a best. I think he was willing to go the distance. There wasn't really a number.
He wanted that.
He needed it.
Yeah.
If my neighbor's selling it, I need it.
Yeah.
I at that point,
that's why the right buyer is always the neighbor, or like
really 99%.
They have an interest and they're going to pay higher.
Yeah, and at that point, he told me a number he felt comfortable with, and it happened to be higher than the other one. And I did the same thing. He's like, well, I'm about to sign it. I'm like, well, I'll send it to you literally within the next 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Pull over, draft the LOI, sent it. Kind of wish I had a VA at that point, but sent it out, signed it, got it to them, and said, you know what? It expires in a couple minutes,
dude.
And
it got bid up how much in the matter of like a couple hours?
I had $750,000 in a matter of 15 minutes.
Just brokering deals, man.
Yeah. But overall, it was really cool experience. I mean, at the time, I was very, very upset. I had actually even missed his birthday.
You missed my birthday party because he was like, dude, I thought the deal was going south, and I couldn't.
I was such a bad mood.
Birthday party that I ruined the surprise for. Yeah, that was a good.
Dude, that was
a whole other story.
Yeah.
What'd you do? You ruined it.
With all the DMs flying around these days, like when I got there,
my wife is. She basically like reached out, I think via like IG,
and said like text me or like here's my, and I didn't know if it was a hacker or something.
Yeah,
so I was like, Nick, watch out.
The only one. Yeah. His brother said the same thing. He's like,
your brother's
his brother and you said, yo, I think Esther's account got hacked. I'm like, no, actually, she's planning my surprise 40th birthday.
And it was a sick party. It was so good.
Yeah, I was like,
I felt so bad. Like, she must have taken a lot of time to plan that.
Yeah, I'll just make pretend I didn't hear this from you guys.
It's awesome.
I'm sorry, Nick. But I wanted to add something before that, like with the neighbor, like calling around. We call it rooftop prospecting.
Circle
prospecting, potato. But it's like they're also calculating not only the cost of the acquisition, but the opportunity cost of if they don't acquire it. What could happen if I don't get this, right? And typically they're the best buyers for that reason alone. When they can calculate, all right, if I get it, this is great. But if I don't get it, I also need to consider what that potentially could cost me too.
Yeah.
For redevelopment, for whatever it is.
Yep.
That's a great parcel too. We won't disclose it until it's closed. Maybe if you want to learn more, reach out to Phil. We'll have his information below. That's probably one of the best stories I've ever heard, though.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll have plenty more coming up.
I can't wait.
That was the most recent.
As long as you're successful on the other end.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But even the ones that you aren't, I feel like you always learn something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, even on the one on Arch, like we just put under, today.
Today.
I've heard about that.
Over $5 million.
Nice.
And honestly, I am befuddled. Like I think we did a great job with how we promoted that with Business Journal, getting that out there. And it's just the exclusivity. I think we drove up the price. And
talk a little bit about how you marketed it. I'm curious.
Well, we have a couple connections at the Business Journal, and I was like, let's send this out to them. It's a unique property.
What is the property exactly? Like,
it's
what kind of
it's 1320 Arch Street. It was the second Elks Lodge in the country. It's a beautiful building. The exterior is gorgeous. It's got a cool history to it. And before we brought it to market, we asked the ownership if it was okay if we reached out to the Business Journal so that they could do an article about it. Guy wrote a great article about it, and we just got hammered with like calls and people wanting to see it. Hey, I saw this, but I don't see it on CoStar. Can we get in? We got a lot of people let's see if I can get you in there.
And I will say the process of that, I think we mastered it already, but knowing the right marketing process for a product, like Arch was perfect. Owners are great. It's, we kept it inside. We worked our network. All right, what's our next stage? Now we're getting an article. What's the next stage? We're calling our next set of buyers. Stage.
And I think if we listed it and then did the article, it wouldn't have had the same effect because it was like, we had all these brokers be like, I don't see it on CoStar, blah, blah, blah. It's still off market. Because then a lot of these guys, they're these savvy investors, they want to buy stuff off market. And
exclusivity
is
key.
Key. Yep. And we were able to basically get it out there with still holding the exclusivity. Mm-hmm. And honestly, at the price that we're agreeing on, and hopefully everything works through DD and all that. But we beat our projection. That might be like almost like a record number for a property of that condition. And it's the same that goes with Laurel. Like Laurel, we broke that. That's why I think it's like the way we work, we got to give ourselves credit. I mean, I really do think we got to give ourselves credit, and because we really do. We do our stuff well, I think,
One thing that's always present to me is our willingness to collaborate.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people keep their deals close to the chest.
I hate that with commercial.
It kills the sellers, man.
It kills the sellers.
Any seller out there listening, it's like
you're not doing them.
Well, you represent the seller at that point. You want to strategically bring it out. You want the highest price possible. You want the best price, and if it's keeping the exclusivity, if it's putting in the market, you're going to advise them, and they follow through, and you get what you want.
Correct.
I'm curious about that one deal that you said you learned a lot from the broker who was, I guess, your competing agent on the buy side. What'd you learn from him? What were some of the tactics, I guess, that you learned from him?
I'd say strategic planning with your offers. It's how tight can you make terms? Do you have a relationship with the broker? Do you have a previous relationship with the seller? All the chess pieces were aligned, and it just so happened that my side just didn't care. They would have done what it takes, even at a crazier higher number. Yeah. But he had all the right motions. It was just relationships, and it was tightness of terms, and he did not mess around with offering.
Yeah,
that's it.
Something a lot of people need to hear when we talk about the broker's blueprint. It is not
pressure. Yeah,
it's pressure, but it's also not only the price. Price is
the terms. It's the buyer. That's like with this one. It's like the buyer just seems like the right buyer. They're in construction. It's like,
and even pitching your buyer. Mm-hmm. I'm even working on one now. It's I'm actually competing with two other people. One's higher, one's lower, but I'm right in the middle. I actually may be significantly less, but my buyer knows the bank. My buyer's paying cash. Mm-hmm. They've just done a refi, $20 million up the street. They're the only person who does this type of rehab. They check all the boxes that the seller wants. Mm-hmm. Listen, you can go $1 million more. Doesn't mean they're actually going to close.
Yeah.
But when you portray this story as a broker and you get emotionally connected to, the broker, but to the seller, as to why, that's what makes you a professional at that point.
Drop the mic.
You know what I mean?
honestly. It's really, that's what it's about feeling. And if you get people to feel like what you say matters, like I hear you, I see you, and what you say matters, if they feel that from you, game over.
It's what do you want?
Game.
And I'm gonna give that to you. You want execution? Here's the execution. You want the number? Here's the number.
Yeah. The next part is being a professional and understanding numbers, markets, marketing strategies, negotiation tactics. That's where we really have value, but you can't show them that. They don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And you kill that every time. And that's something that no one will really talk to you about. And I'm really glad that we got to unpack that in today's episode, because it's such an overlooked aspect of sales.
Yeah.
Especially real estate business. It's all relationships. Well, we will not get replaced by AI anytime soon because of that alone.
Yeah.
Period.
I agree.
Anything else you want to add, Nick? Or
No, man. Phil, thank you.
Dude.
You're the man.
Thank you.
You really are?
Philly Millie.
Hashtag Philly Millie. Can we get some Philly Millies in the chat?
How do people get in touch with you?
You can either I'd say Instagram is probably the best one.
It's
Your handle.
P Maisano RE.
Okay.
That's it. I will answer.
We're gonna put it all in the description down low, but don't feel free. Like and subscribe. You have no freedom. Like and subscribe right now. And make sure to tune in for the next episode. We're really gonna start diving into more about how deals can be done a lot better and making sure that everyone's getting the most value throughout the transaction from buyer to seller. So stay tuned, guys. Take care.